What's happening, family? Man, these last few weeks have been a complete whirlwind between my family reunion, vacation, my birthday. It's been an absolute blast these last few weeks, and I'm so happy to be right back with you guys. Um, I have a lot to say in a little bit of time, so I'm going to jump right into it. Guys, y'all have been with me on my journey. I've been most definitely trying to figure out life, just figure out my place in this world. And I'm trying to figure it out in this new season. And one of the things that I embrace the most is vulnerability. Guys, vulnerability has been my absolute superpower. I've come to realize the moment that I become vulnerable, meaning when I say vulnerable, I mean I'm at my weakest. I'm at a place where I have no defense for what's coming my way. I am leaving it all up to God to be my defense. And he has showed up and showed out every single time for me. So I want to talk to you guys today about vulnerability. I want you guys to, and I know vulnerability is tough. It is a hard thing to do. It is hard to be vulnerable. It is hard to be raw. It is hard to be completely honest, even with yourself. Because a lot of times we believe that we're okay when we're not okay. We tell ourselves that we're good when we're not good. And in the midst of us telling ourselves that we're okay, when we're not okay, we're telling ourselves a lie. One thing I've learned about God is that he cannot dwell in lies. He cannot dwell in sin. Even if you're sinning against yourself, you're still telling yourself a lie. God can't honor that. He can't. It goes against everything that he's made of. So even if you don't tell everyone else the truth, you got to be honest with yourself. We got to be able to tell ourselves the truth. So if we're not okay, we got to be able to say that, because that is where the healing begins. The healing is in the vulnerability, your rawness, your ability to be truthful with yourself. And most importantly, your ability to be truthful with God. One thing I can tell you guys is that the moment that I became vulnerable is the moment I started to feel like the weight of the world was coming off my shoulders. I started to feel like a new person. And I know for a lot of people who know me, who's known me for years, they've been looking at me like I was crazy. This joker ain't never been this happy. He's never been this talkative. He's never been this raw. He's never been this real. It's because I don't care anymore. I don't care to hide who I am. I don't care to do anything to please others that goes against hurting myself. I want to do for others based on how God wants me to do it, not based on how Jason wants to do it. I was in the business of just doing things because it felt good. Didn't mean I was supposed to be doing it. It just meant it felt good. So I felt like, if I do this, I'm doing it for somebody, hey man, I get cool points with God for that. Nah. He has his own plan for us. We don't receive that plan until we become vulnerable. That vulnerability is what allows you in his presence. You can't go to God into God's presence with your ego. It doesn't work. You cannot be full of yourself and want to approach God. He's going to accept you at your worst, but you got to believe you at your worst in order for him to accept you there. That's the vulnerability part. That's the part that we need to understand more than anything, is that when we cry out to God, we're crying out to God because we have nowhere else to go. We're at our rawest. We're at our most vulnerable. And because we are there, God is now able to do exactly what he wants to do in your life. This is where the miracles happen. One thing I've noticed, and I don't know if anybody else has noticed this, but one thing I noticed about rich people is rich people, even though they have a lot of the fancy cars, they got the houses, they got all the money, they take the best trips. I just don't see a lot of rich people. I don't see a lot of happy rich people. I don't. Now, you guys can disagree with me, and it's your opinion. This is my opinion. This is just me. I don't see a lot of rich, happy people. I see a lot of rich people whose families are in turmoil. I see a lot of rich people who faking it till they make it. I see a lot of rich people who treat others badly. I see a lot of rich people who brag about themselves to make themselves feel better. I see a lot of things, but I don't see happiness. Now, when we talk about wealthy people, I see happiness. See, wealth is different than rich. You can be wealthy and not be rich. Wealth is in the mind, the body, and the spirit. The wealth is in when you put God at the top and he is at the head of your life. So now you have God at the top. He's covering you. He's raining blessings down upon you. He's making sure that you have each and everything that you need in order for you to be successful. That's wealth. Wealth is taking care of your body. Wealth is making sure that you take care of your spirit. You praying every day. You're doing God's will and not your will. Wealth is making sure that your family is healthy, whole, and happy. Money is a byproduct. You don't understand those things until you become vulnerable. Now, I'm not saying it ain't fun. It won't be fun to be wealthy in terms of riches as well, because that is a thing. But the happiest people I know are the people that are free in mind. The happiest people I know are the people that don't know a stranger and don't hold a secret. Because those people are truly vulnerable. They don't care what you think because they know what a source is. They know who their source is. So therefore, they know that regardless of what people think about them, they know without a shadow of a doubt that God is in complete control. Guys, I'm not knocking nobody that's rich at all. Hey, I'm still striving to get to that financial place where I can never have to look at a checkbook or look at my bank account or anything else of that nature. And I can go and buy the house I want and buy the cars I want and make sure that my kids have everything that they desire. Even in their grownness, I want to make sure that they have everything that they desire. I want my nieces and nephews and my future grandkids to have to never worry about money. I never want my grandkids to ever see a public school. I want my grandkids to go to private school. I want them to have the best education. I want them to have the best chance at life. All of those things I do want, and I know that it requires money in order to have it. But if I never ever have the money, I will still be happy. I wouldn't have never learned that had I not began to be vulnerable. Had I not shown God my vulnerable side. Had I not shown my wife my vulnerable side. Had I not shown my best friend my vulnerable side. Had I not shown my family my vulnerable side. See, when I started to approach vulnerability with everyone, our relationships began to change. Those that didn't accept it, I don't talk to them as much, if at all. But those that do, our relationship is 10 times better. Guys, I just want you guys to get in touch with that vulnerability. I want you guys to get in touch with the truth. As my wife would so eloquently put it, stop believing the lie. If you're not okay, say you're not okay. So that's where help is. Help is in the admittance that you're not okay. We're all going through something. Every last one of us. We go through stuff. It doesn't make you weak. It doesn't make you destined for despair. It doesn't make you a bad person. It doesn't make you any of those things. It just makes you human. We're all human, guys. And we all fall short. But if we're dealing with problems and we're never addressing the problems by owning the problems and telling ourselves the truth that we have a problem, there's no help there. And I want each and every one of us to get the help that we need so that we can be the best versions of ourselves, and so that we can raise the best children to be the best versions of themselves, and that we can make sure that our grandkids and our nieces and our nephews and whoever else encounters us in life, we want to be able to deliver and plant seeds in their lives so that they can be the best version of themselves. It all starts with being vulnerable. Guys, I'm looking forward to seeing everyone begin, hopefully those that are listening to me, even if it's just one person that takes heed to what I say, I promise you it's going to be the best decision you ever made in your life. Let's stop looking at the people who have the money and the cars and the big houses and take the exotic trips as the example of happiness. They're not. I can promise you they're not. You can tell by the decisions that they make, they're not. Guys, let's start looking to people who are healthy and whole to be examples for us. I'm going to do my best to try to be an example to each and every one of you. I know I fall short. I know I'm not perfect. But one thing I'm going to do is I'm going to lead with love. So if that's the only example I can show you, I'm going to show you. I love you guys immensely, intensely, and unconditionally. You guys have an amazing, amazing, amazing evening. I'll talk to you soon.